47 seconds ago, FBI Director Kash Patel's world collapsed in front of 17 cameras and millions watching live. The moment came not with shouting or theatrical confrontation, but with something far more devastating: a single manila folder that Senator Jamie Raskin placed on the witness table at exactly 10:23 a.m., sliding it across until it stopped directly in front of Patel's trembling hands. The folder was thin, maybe 30 pages, but the red classification stripe told everyone in that room exactly what it contained: documents that were never supposed to see daylight, documents whose very existence Patel had denied under oath 40 minutes earlier. The hearing had started routinely, Senate Intelligence Committee oversight, scheduled for 3 hours. Patel arrived at 9:13 a.m., flanked by 4 attorneys whose briefcases contained carefully prepared responses. He wore his standard Navy suit, projecting absolute confidence as he adjusted the microphone. The first hour proceeded exactly as scripted. Republican senators praised his leadership. Democratic senators pressed on controversial topics: the termination of 1,200 counterintelligence agents, the denial of security clearances for officials who had criticized the previous administration. Patel deflected each challenge with bureaucratic precision, invoking ongoing investigations, citing privacy protections, wrapping every non-answer in institutional procedure that sounded transparent while revealing nothing. At 10:17 a.m., Chairman Mark Warner recognized Senator Jamie Raskin. The energy shifted immediately. Raskin is a former constitutional law professor, a congressman who served as lead impeachment manager, known for methodical preparation and prosecutorial precision. He doesn't ask questions unless he already possesses the answers. Raskin sat quietly for 6 seconds, simply looking at Patel, not aggressively, just steady observation. Then he reached down and lifted a black briefcase onto the table. Click, click. "Director Patel," Raskin began, "I want to discuss FBI data management practices, specifically regarding the preservation and potential deletion of classified materials." Patel's left hand moved toward his water glass, the first flicker of stress. "Of course, Senator. The FBI maintains comprehensive data security protocols, multiple redundant backup systems, strict access controls, complete audit trails." "Excellent," Raskin said, and something in that single word made everyone lean forward. "So you would agree it would be virtually impossible for significant classified data to be deleted without proper authorization and documentation?" Patel nodded with apparent confidence, not yet realizing the trap. "Absolutely, Senator. Our systems prevent unauthorized deletion. Every action requires digital authentication, preserved indefinitely." "That's precisely what I thought you'd say," Raskin replied, opening the manila folder. "Director Patel, are you familiar with FBI Data Management Incident Report DM 2025-8847, dated November 4th, 2025? The question landed like a surgical strike. Patel's eyebrows drew together, his mouth opened before closing, his eyes tracking to the document with recognition mixed with dread. "Senator," Patel started, "without seeing the specific document, I cannot comment on individual internal reports." "Let me refresh your memory," Raskin interrupted, holding up the page so cameras could capture the FBI letterhead and red classification markings. "This is an internal memorandum sent to you on November 4th by FBI Chief Information Security Officer Dr. Jennifer Martinez. Subject line: Critical data loss incident requiring immediate executive attention." The room went absolutely silent. Journalists stopped typing. Committee staffers froze. Even the stenographer looked up. Raskin began reading, each word deliberate. Quote, "Director Patel, I am writing to inform you of an unprecedented data loss incident that occurred between November 2nd and November 3rd, 2025. Approximately 2.4 terabytes of classified counterintelligence data were permanently deleted from FBI primary servers using administrative override protocols that require director-level authorization." He paused. 2.4 terabytes. That represents approximately 847 counterintelligence case files, 2,341 intercepted communications, 18,492 financial transaction records, and 673 witness interview transcripts. Patel's face began its transformation. The confident composure cracked visibly. Subtle pallor crept into his complexion. Raskin continued, Director Patel, this deletion was executed using your personal authorization code, FBI DIR 7734, initiated from your office terminal at 2:47 a.m. on November 3rd. This represents the largest unexplained loss of classified intelligence in FBI history. Signed, Dr. Jennifer Martinez. End quote. The impact was instantaneous. Patel's hands began to tremble. Not dramatically, but visibly, starting small and growing more pronounced. When he reached for his water glass, the trembling was so obvious that water sloshed over the rim, captured by every camera. Senator? Patel managed, his voice barely recognizable. I don't have personal knowledge of every technical system operation, and I would need to consult with my IT security team to provide context. You don't have personal knowledge, Raskin's voice rose. Director Patel, this memorandum states that 2.4 terabytes of classified counterintelligence data were deleted using your personal authorization code from your office terminal at 2:47 in the morning. Are you seriously telling this committee that someone else was in your office at 2:47 a.m. using your credentials? Patel looked desperately at his attorneys. The lead counsel leaned forward to whisper urgent advice, but Patel seemed unable to process anything. His breathing had become visibly rapid. Senator, there could be technical explanations for how authorization codes are utilized in automated archival processes. Let me make this simpler, Raskin interrupted, pulling a second document. This is FBI Headquarters Security Access Log for November 2nd and 3rd, 2025. According to this record, you entered FBI headquarters at 11:34 p.m. on November 2nd, accessed the director's office at 11:41 p.m., and remained in the building with no other personnel present on the 7th floor until you exited at 4:18 a.m. on November 3rd. Raskin leaned forward. The data deletion occurred at 2:47 a.m., Director Patel. You were alone in your office in an empty building when 2.4 terabytes of classified counterintelligence data were permanently deleted using your personal authorization code. Why were you there at 2:47 in the morning, and what exactly were you deleting? This was the moment. 10:23 a.m., 6 minutes into Raskin's questioning, when Kash Patel completely lost his composure. His face appeared drained of color even under harsh lighting. Sweat formed on his forehead. His hands trembled so badly he clasped them together, knuckles white. Senator, Patel started, voice cracking. This is taking internal communications out of context and weaponizing routine data management to create a false narrative. Routine, Raskin repeated, barely containing fury. Director, let me read you one more section. Quote, this deletion utilized emergency override protocols designed to bypass all standard preservation safeguards. The deleted data is permanently unrecoverable. This action required manual disabling of 6 separate backup systems and explicit confirmation at 3 verification points. This was not automated. This was deliberate. Manual deletion requiring active human intervention at multiple stages. End quote. Raskin's voice hardened. That doesn't sound routine, Director. That sounds like someone deliberately destroyed classified counterintelligence data in the middle of the night while alone in the FBI building. So I'm asking one more time, and I want you to look at these cameras because the American people are watching. Why did you delete 2.4 terabytes of classified counterintelligence files? The question hung in the air, unanswerable. Patel sat frozen, unable to speak or move, his body language screaming collapse. His attorneys frantically passed notes, their strategy useless against Raskin's documentary evidence, but Raskin wasn't finished. He pulled out a third document. Let me tell you what was in those 2.4 terabytes, Director Patel. Counterintelligence Case File, CI 2024-8847. Investigation into undisclosed foreign contacts by Presidential Transition Team members. Case File, CI 2024-9113, intercepted communications between Russian intelligence operatives and U.S. political consultants. Case File, CI 2024-9847, Financial Intelligence Reports on Unexplained Transfers from Foreign Entities to Domestic Political Organizations. With each case file number, Patel physically shrank. His shoulders hunched, his head dropped, his posture conveying defeat. And here's the most interesting part, Raskin continued, holding up a fourth document. This is a witness protection authorization form signed by you on November 1, 2025, just 2 days before the deletion, granting emergency classified witness status and FBI security detail to Michael Flynn. The name detonated like a bomb. Michael Flynn, former national security advisor, convicted of lying to the FBI about Russian contacts, pardoned by Trump, now under FBI protection authorized by Patel. Director Patel, Raskin said, Michael Flynn's name appears 47 times in the counterintelligence files you deleted 2 days after granting him witness protection. Did you delete classified counterintelligence data to protect Michael Flynn and others connected to foreign influence operations? Patel tried to stand, his chair scraping loudly, face contorted with rage and panic. I will not sit here and allow you to impugn my integrity with these baseless conspiracy theories. Sit down, Director! Chairman Warner's voice thundered. Patel collapsed back into his chair. Raskin pulled out one final document. Director Patel, I want to read you an email sent by FBI Deputy Director Paul Abate on October 28, 2025, 5 days before the deletion. Quote, Kash, I need to strongly advise against any action to compromise ongoing counterintelligence investigations. The CI division has developed substantial evidence of FARA violations and potential espionage activities. Any interference would constitute obstruction. I am formally documenting my opposition to any proposed data modifications. Paul Abate, Deputy Director. End quote. Raskin looked directly at Patel. Your own Deputy Director warned you that deleting these files would constitute obstruction of justice. You did it anyway. That's not data management, Director. That's obstruction. That's destruction of evidence. That's potentially covering up espionage. Patel sat motionless, unable to respond, his complete meltdown captured by every camera. His face glistened with perspiration. His hands continued trembling. His breathing came in short gasps. The confident FBI director from 90 minutes earlier had been dismantled, reduced to a panicking figure unable to explain his own documented actions. I move that all documents be entered into the congressional record, Raskin said, and I formally request that the Department of Justice open an immediate criminal investigation into potential obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence, and violations of federal records preservation laws. The hearing continued for another 40 minutes, but nothing else mattered. Within minutes, video clips of Patel's meltdown went viral, his trembling hands, his drained face, his inability to explain why he was alone in FBI headquarters at 2:47 a.m., deleting classified files. News networks interrupted programming. FBI director caught deleting counterintelligence files. Legal experts called it the most damning congressional testimony in modern history. FBI whistleblowers came forward. The DOJ Inspector General announced a criminal investigation. Republican senators distanced themselves. The White House refused to comment, a silence Washington recognized as preparation to cut loose a liability. Sometimes accountability requires nothing more than a prosecutor with a manila folder, documentary evidence that cannot be explained away, and patience to build an inescapable trap. Jamie Raskin had that evidence. He asked questions with no acceptable answers, and Kash Patel, sitting alone at that witness table with trembling hands and a pale face, provided the only answer that mattered: complete, total, devastating silence. 47 seconds. That's all it took for the manila folder to slide across the table, for Raskin to begin reading, for Patel's world to collapse. 2.4 terabytes of deleted files, one authorization code, one night alone in FBI headquarters at 2:47 a.m., and no explanation that could possibly make any of it acceptable. The meltdown wasn't theatrical. It was real, documented, captured by 17 cameras and witnessed by millions. A complete psychological collapse of a man confronted with documentary evidence of actions he could not explain and could not defend. The kind of meltdown that ends careers, triggers criminal investigations, and changes the course of history. And it all started with a thin manila folder with a red classification stripe sliding across a witness table at exactly 10:23 a.m.